as I'm looking at the lyrics, I'm like, I'm getting a bit uncomfortable.
Hey, music fans, and welcome back to Soundlab Studios. Today is the start of a brand new series for the channel. We are going to be going through the albums of a Mr. David Jones, aka David Bowie, starting with this 1967 debut album. And this guy has done everything. I pretty much just got done listening to all of his albums. Man, what a very different discography. Each and every one of these albums is pretty much nothing like the last one, always leaving people with something different. So very excited to get to go through this discography here and start this journey here. Joining us is Bryer and Nick. So this is kind of going to harken back to the old days, way back when we were doing the discography rankings back in the very beginnings of this channel. So this is going to be fun. Do you guys have, before we start on this review, just kind of brief thoughts on like David Bowie as an artist and starting this journey?
I mean, of course I've known David Bowie for a number of years. I think, of course, my introduction to him was, through Queen, because, of course, he did Under Pressure. Gone through on and off phases with him. There are days I really got into a kick, and then times I kind of move away. But yeah, I think as of late, I'm kind of back on that Bowie kick to an extent. I have a good chunk of his CDs. I pretty much have most of the 70s stuff, and then from that point on, it gets a bit more spotty. But for the most part, I've always enjoyed everything I've heard, and he has some really fantastic albums, and some of them I'd say are definitely some of my favorites just in general. Of course, I remember the day he passed away back in 2016. I remember like his Black Star came out just 2 days before. Actually, I can't remember if I bought it around that time or maybe after his death, but it was just a huge shock. Even at that point, I wouldn't say I was a fan of him at that point, but I remember even I was very shocked.
Okay. As for me, first time I've ever heard the name was around when he passed away, of course. Sirius XM, they were playing on the 60s channel. My dad would put the 60s channel on. They would play Space Oddity all the time. Whenever my dad would put the 70s channel, they would play Changes a lot. So I'm like, what album is Changes on? Hunky Dory. I really liked what I heard on that album. So, gosh, great music. I'm really enjoying what I'm hearing. And then I just decided to go through his full discography. I'll give you my thoughts on the debut, how I thought of it the first time. I didn't like it. I thought it was way too weird. I will say my opinion has changed, but I didn't like the debut at all. I could see why David Bowie wanted this album to be exterminated, basically. Why the box sets don't have that album included. And then I just decided to deep dive his whole discography. And yeah, I'm such a huge Bowie fan. I got into him around the time I got into Queen. For the reasons Bryer said why he got into Bowie originally was because of Under Pressure. And yeah, really happy to go through his discography because I think he's really good. He is the chameleon for a reason. He changes so much.
Yeah. Changes. First time I ever heard David Bowie was this Guitar Hero game I had when I was 13, 14. It had Let's Dance on it. I didn't even know it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. I didn't know who Stevie Ray Vaughan or David Bowie were, but I thought this was a cool song. The very first album review was a review of that album back there, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. And so, yet again, my getting into David Bowie keeps getting delayed. I listened to that album and I gave it like an 8, I think. I thought it was okay, but didn't fully appreciate it then. It wasn't until this year where I think I heard Let's Dance at a Chili's, and I'm like, man, I know that Stevie Ray Vaughan play. I knew that Stevie Ray Vaughan now. I'm like, he plays a really good guitar solo there at the end. And Bryer was doing his ranking of like his tier list of artists, and he got to David Bowie and he put him in S tier and said David Bowie is one of my favorite artists because he does really a lot of everything. And I thought, like, who's all the big artists that I wanted to do a deep dive on but haven't yet? I haven't done Bowie yet, so I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and listen to what Bowie's all about. And so I started by listening to this album right here. Yeah, the first time I heard it, I was like, what is this? This sounds absolutely nothing like anything that I've heard from him before. Yeah, I hated it. I hated it the first time. Now, I listened to the album again today. I'll say my score has gone up a bit. Still not one of my favorite albums from him, but we'll see what score I give this. It's definitely a outlier in his discography. Bryer, do you have any background information about this album?
I quite do, actually. I always come prepared. All right. I'll try to keep it brief. Of course, he was born David Robert Jones, January 8th, 1947, Brixton, London, England. Of course, at a young age, he got into like the classic rock and roll acts, like of course, like Little Richard, Elvis, Fats Domino, the Platters, all that. And of course, from that point on, he always had a thing for music. In school, he studied music, art, and design. And around this time, he was joining a bunch of different bands, mainly as a guitar player and maybe an occasional vocal, but kind of more not like the center stage person. But of course, he always had great ambitions. Like he knew that he wanted to go solo and just achieve something greater than what his bandmates were doing at that point. There was one band called the King Bees he was in. They released a single called Liza Jane. Yeah.
It's not I'm a King Bee.
Nope. But I actually did listen to that track. It's actually kind of like an homage to like 50s rock and roll. It's not bad. And then there was actually one pivotal moment. Of course, this happened in 1962, so still pretty early. But of course, we should probably mention there's one thing about David that's very distinct with him in terms of his appearance is his eyes. Of course, there's always that misconception that he had two separate colored eyes. It's actually not true because his eyes were always blue. But what happened was that apparently he and his friend got a fight over a girl, and his friend punched him in the face. Oof. And so what resulted is that his left eye became permanently dilated. It kind of got paralysis to the point where it's like permanently dilated. So it kind of gives the illusion that he has two separate colored eyes, but really it's just one eye's just messed up. That friend was named George Underwood, and funny enough, we'll actually see him again because they actually did remain friends after that incident. They actually do some art. They would actually help him with. He actually would help David with some artwork for some albums that we'll cover in a bit.
And I think David Bowie like marry a model or something like that. So I think David Bowie got the upper hand on this one.
Yeah.
Is again you're gonna be my artwork guy.
Yeah.
I'm famous and you're not.
Yeah. I don't know. They kind of joked about it. I actually watched a recent interview with him with George Underwood. He actually has nothing bad to say about him at all.
Okay.
That's good.
I guess it's just kid stuff, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. But at some point he went solo and he decided to change his name, of course, because of course by this point the Monkees were all the rage and he did not want to be confused with Davy Jones. So he kept his first name, but he chose Bowie because he actually got it from an American pioneer named James Bowie, who was actually famous for designing knives.
Oh, yeah, the guy who died at the Alamo.
There we go. Yeah,
I've actually seen his knife.
Oh, yeah.
I went to the Alamo because I live in Texas, and I saw his knife, and you hear about how legendarily large his knife was, and it was very disappointing.
Oh, yeah, I bet. But in any case, he actually would record a few singles under the David Bowie name, but of course, nothing really didn't really make a dent or anything. But he got enough attention to the point where he got a record deal, and they would record an album. And of course, the album came out June 1st, 1967, the same day Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band came out, which definitely didn't help its sales, probably.
No.
Yeah. There's actually a funny thing here I looked up. The producer, Mike Vernon, he's actually a little connection because he actually produced the first two Fleetwood Mac albums. That includes Mr. Wonderful.
So the same guy. I think I'm sensing something with all of these early albums.
Yeah, I know.
As long as they're not going to make Bowie do the same song 4 times.
Well, that's true. I'll give him that. But of course, we all know this album was a huge flop. Didn't sell crap. And yeah, I mean, I think I read it got some positive reception early on, but as years gone by, it's kind of seen more as definitely. I think you said it already that it's definitely a big outlier in this whole catalog. It's very different. It's more of this like Baroque pop, music hall, vaudevillian sort of thing, which is definitely something different, of course, but which does fit his ethos, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even Bowie himself said like, yeah, I'm not happy with this album, and so there's that as well. But I think there's usually I've seen a couple people say that they do kind of do like this album because there's a bit of a charm to it being his first, and just look at his face, like look at that little baby face there. Yeah, but yeah, so I get the appeal. But yeah, I don't think I gave my brief thoughts on this album, but of course I will say like kind of similar with Scott. Like on first listen, I really didn't like this at all. But I gave it another chance, and there were some more songs that were like, okay, that's not too bad. But I still wouldn't say I would say it's still not one of his top tier albums by far. And even the songs I did like are definitely not going to be in my top 10 songs. But overall, it's definitely a nice oddity. It's definitely a good curiosity if you want to hear him this early. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for my background info.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the track by track, but we're going to start the ball rolling with Uncle Arthur. And remember, whenever we talk about a first track in an artist's discography, I always like to talk about, is this a good way to introduce the artist?
All right. So this is going to be interesting. So first time hearing it, I didn't like it. And then second time hearing it, I still don't like it, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. I like it's definitely an interesting album opener. Of course, it has this very strange, because it has this weird horn. I think it's horns in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just has this weird tone that's like, okay, this is interesting. And it was kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes. And this is one of those songs where I was paying attention to the lyrics, and of course there's kind of an underlying theme throughout this album about like childhood and innocence and stuff like that. And this song here, Uncle Arthur, is supposed to be about the titular Uncle Arthur who likes to hang out with the kids, kind of acts like a kid. And as I'm looking at the lyrics, I'm like, I'm getting a bit uncomfortable. I would not want to hang out with Uncle Arthur, honestly.
No, there's one song on this album where that's even more awkward.
Yeah, totally. I know the chorus. I'm not really that big on the chorus either. I don't know. I think I found the chorus a little bit annoying after a bit. And just even the song as a whole sounds like a child song, like something for like a kid would listen to. But yeah, overall, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but still, I'm not really into it. I don't think. Yeah, so for me, not really not really the best way to start a career with.
For me, it's the complete opposite. I think this is a fantastic opening song to the album. To me, I get where Bryer's coming from. Where if you dissect the lyrics, you go, "What the heck am I reading? What is this?" It's so weird. Like, keep Uncle Arthur far away from these kids, But looking at it on a music sort of way, I love it. It's so catchy. I love the strikes the bell for 5 o'clock. Uncle Arthur closes shop. He's just very British sounding. Like Scott said, it's very small face. It's very small faces coded. This is definitely the most small. This is, you know what? This sounds like the most like the Kinks actually. This particular song.
Yeah, this album does kind of give strong Kinks vibes.
Yeah, I actually read that was actually the intention. He was trying to write something in the style of like Ray Davies.
Yeah, this sounds like something that would be on something else from the Kinks or Face to Face. It
does.
Whichever one of those albums came before this one. And
I like Something Else a lot better than this album, though.
I mean, Something Else is like in my top 100 albums, and this isn't even close to being there. So I'm not comparing the two albums, of course.
I have Something Else on record. I don't have this one. Yeah.
But I love the chorus. Uncle Arthur, bum, 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 bum. Uncle Arthur follows Batman.
Oh, yeah, he loves his comics.
He loves his comics. Uncle Arthur follows
Batman.
It's stupid, but it's a fun kind of stupid. And call me crazy, but I think this is the perfect way to open up his discography because it's like a fun greeting to the world. Like, hey, I'm David Bowie. Welcome. I mean, welcome me, or I am here now. So I'm not saying this is no good times, bad times. I'm not
perfect way to introduce your.
I'm not saying this is a good times, bad times level good, but I'd say I like it. I think it's a good introduction song, in my opinion.
Yeah, this I have very mixed feelings on this song. So one, I agree with both of you guys. Nick, it's a very fun song. I like the horn section. It's a very silly song. Uncle Arthur follows Batman. Uncle Arthur loves his comics. Uncle Arthur left my mom when he was 32. And it's like my mom got upset. It's like, he's 32. Let him leave the house. All right, it's time he left and got a job and got married. He's 32. But then again, like Bryer was saying, and this is kind of goes through the whole album. This album is very multi-dimensional. Like the songs are very on the surface cutesy and fun, but then like some of these songs, you look at the lyrics deeper, and they still seem very fun and cutesy and childish. But then if you dig really deep into the lyrics, you're going to find some pretty dark stuff in a lot of these songs. And I don't know, it's very different in a very odd way for Bowie to start his discography. With all of these songs, really. Like, this album is very much an outlier. I feel like Space Oddity is like the perfect way to introduce David Bowie. Not that I like this album is still kind of fun, but it's like, I don't know, it gives me kind of weird vibes. But still, fun first song here. Our next song is Sell Me a Coat.
Okay, so after that, I will say this is actually a decent song. Actually, even on the first listen, I actually did like this song. Yeah, so it's actually a pretty nice one. I think the horns sound a lot better here, and I think the overall melody has a more catchier tone, which I actually kind of liked a bit more. And the chorus has this like nursery rhyme thing, which actually kind of works. I think it sounds pretty decent. And this is kind of where his vocals was actually a standout. I think his vocals were pretty good here. Not saying his vocals were bad the whole time, but this is where it kind of sounds a lot more like what he would do later. But even lyrically, like Scott says, there's a lot of layers to this one. Like on the surface, it's pretty much, it's like a guy just getting a coat. It's cold out, but really it's just about a breakup and how the cold weather is kind of exemplifying his sadness and about it, which I think it was kind of nice. I kind of like the sentiment of that one. Yeah. So overall, again, not like a top tier song from him, but I would say this is actually a pretty good song. Actually, a highlight. So yeah, I like this one.
I actually agree with Bryer. This is a really nice song on the album. I like the la 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 la. Very nice. It's such a pretty song, especially after the very upsy pop of the last song. It's like, he goes from like Ray Davies, Kinks, Small Faces type song to nice breezy song. It's like wow, this is really good. And I gotta say, a lot of the songs I like on this album are more of the nicer songs on the album, the less chaotic ones. I mean, there's a couple of songs there's one song in particular that I really like that's chaotic, but there's a couple of songs that were like really nice on this album, like really, really nice. Yeah, I really quite enjoyed it myself. I like the lyrics on it. Sell me a coat, bum, 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 bum. I'm not remembering the lyrics on the top of my head, but the lyrics I really enjoy. Yeah, this is another song that I really enjoyed off first listen as well.
I like this song. I don't think it's as fun as Uncle Arthur, but this song is very it's a little bit more serious than the last song. The chorus is very catchy, will get stuck in your head. Sell me a coat with little brass buttons. But that's really the main part I remember is that line right there. Pretty good, not amazing, but probably one of the better songs here on the album. And that is going to bring us to our third song, Rubber Band, which was one of our singles from this album.
Yeah. Again, we're kind of going back to the more quirky sort of side.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the quirky horns coming back in, which I was already mixed on that on Uncle Arthur, so didn't really change much here. And the drums kind of have this weird tone, kind of eerie almost. And then and overall, again, I didn't have much to say on this one. Overall, I thought it was okay. It was not really a song that stood out for me. But aside from that, from the intro, it was kind of typical. Not bad, not great, just kind of somewhere in the middle. Actually, it is smack dab in the middle. I just looked at my ranking. So there you go.
It's kind of funny too, because it's actually towards the middle for me as well. But I actually I like it because of how quirky it is. Rubber Band. Not gonna lie, I hated the song when I first heard it. I'm like, Rubber Band? What the hell?
It's a play on words.
Rubber Band. I saw the music video because there's actually a music video.
Oh, it's so weird. It's like he's got a mustache. I'm like, what?
What? Yeah, what's like? He has a mustache. He has a weird hat. I'm like, what am I looking at?
I'm like, this is Ziggy Stardust.
Exactly.
This is the same guy.
This is Aladdin. This is the Thin White Duke we're looking
at. Yeah. He wearing a barbershop outfit and he got a mustache that big.
But now re-listening to it, the more and more I listen to it, the more I like it. And it's so weird and it's so out there. My mustache was stiffly waxed and 1 foot long. It's just so weird. I love it though. It's not like a top 5 song on the album for me, but I like how quirky it is. It's such a quirky song, and I can see why people could get turned off from songs like this. But it's just like a song that I would like, Again, I like weird music. I mean, case in point, I love The Dreaming by Kate Bush, so I like weird stuff.
I'm with Nick. When I first heard this song, I'm like, what am I listening to right now? And then Nick showed me the music video, and I'm like, what? It's so weird. I'm like, this isn't David Bowie. What is this? This is so weird. This song kind of sounds like the Kinks meet the Small Faces almost, with a little I don't know, some kind of Baroque stuff thrown in there too. This song is so wacky. I have, like, pretty much all the songs on this album. I have mixed feelings about it, but I like it a lot better the second time that I've heard it. I absolutely hated it the first time. Now I actually kind of like it. It's fun. It's quirky, very British, and it's kind of, although you look into the lyrics and it's depressing. He's like, I hate the rubber band. And you're like, why do you hate the rubber band? It's like the rubber band was playing out of tune. And he just goes through and is like, why do you hate the rubber band? You get to the very end. He left to do, I forget, he like went off to war or something. And when he came back, his girlfriend got married to the leader of the rubber band. So he's like, now I'm going to break up your band. And at the end, like, you hear the rubber band playing. He's like, stop, shut up. It's like, that's such a weird way to end this song. It's all right. I mean, like, obviously this isn't top tier Bowie, but like, it's, for this album, it's probably going to be one of the higher ranked songs on the album. Next, another very quirky song, Love You Till Tuesday.
Yep, another single as well. All right. Now this is actually the quirky. This one I think the quirky was worked a little bit better. The horns and strings, not too bad, pretty solid. Has a positive sound, I guess. And I think I will give it that. The chorus is actually kind of catchy. It's actually pretty memorable. There were a couple moments, like there was at one point, I don't know, I can't remember when, but when he says me, he says it in a very weird way.
He's like, who's that hanging on the tree? It's me.
Yeah, there we go. That was it.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That got me too. I'm like, what?
I know. Then he says, and at one point he says, maybe we'll stretch it till Wednesday. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I think one of my,
let's get on the next one.
Yeah. And one of my notes was, this sounds like something I would hear in a sitcom. I don't know why. Something like that. But you know, it's not great still, but it's definitely one of the more positive songs here. Actually, it was actually fine. Yeah, it was not bad.
I love this song so much. This is one of my all-time favorite Bowie songs. I love it.
What?
I always love this song. It's so it's so quirky, it's so goofy, but I love it. I love the chorus. Oh, beautiful day, my burning desire started on Sunday. Give me your heart and I'll love you till Tuesday. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, ba, ba, ba. And what you guys were mentioning for when he's saying this, who's that hiding in the apple tree?
Yep.
Clinging to a branch, don't be afraid, it's only me. Hoping for a little romance.
Yeah.
I love this song. From the first time I've heard it until now, this has always been a song that I go back to. I think this was actually one of my most listened to songs. I think it was like either 2022 or 2023. It was like one of my most listened to songs. I really love this song. I love this song. It's, spoiler, top 2 songs on the album.
Whoa. This is another one of the songs that I just hated the first time I heard this album. It's so weird. It's just like, what is going on with this song? I like this a lot better than the first time I heard it, but it's still, like, you hear that horns at the beginning. It's like, and then it's just like, don't be afraid of the man in the moon. It's only me. It's like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then it's like, it's so contradictory. It's like, I want to love you all. It's like my love will be the best and I'll love you always. But then he's just like, I'll love you till Tuesday. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Like, make up your mind. And then the very end is so dumb where it's just like, maybe we can stretch it to Wednesday. Like, that's just dumb. Like, what is up with this song? It's all right. I don't love this one. Next track, There Is a Happy Land.
Okay, now this is actually another one of the better songs here. This is actually another one I liked quite a bit. I think even on the first listen, I actually kind of like this one too. Starts on a pretty nice note. Some really good bass playing. I think this is where the bass kind of shines a bit more. And I think the piano sounds really good, and the horns complement it pretty nicely here. And yeah, it's kind of another one of those songs, kind of going back to the whole childhood, kind of going from childhood to adulthood sort of thing. And there's like lots of references to like other characters. Like I know Charlie Brown was referenced at one point. Um, yeah, I think, but yeah, musically it's definitely pretty solid. And again, I think his vocals were pretty solid on this one as well. Again, one of the better songs. I'm a bit mixed because at one point he does a bit of a scat sort of thing, which I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe you could have kept that off, but overall, it's actually better. I like this one.
I like that you noticed when he said Charlie Brown. 'Cause I like the part where he's like, Charlie Brown got half a crown. He's gonna buy a kite. This is another one of my absolute favorite David Bowie songs. This is another. These two songs are like two songs I'm like, this is so good. It's like two songs that are criminally underrated in my opinion. Like, of course, everyone when they think Bowie, they think all the big songs in the 70s and even Space Oddity in the 60s. I love this song. It's so pleasant. I think this was Polygram's favorite song on the album from Polygram Auctions. So I love this song. I'm in agreement with him. It's such a beautiful song. It's such a pleasant song after the craziness that was Love You Till Tuesday. So this is an awesome song. I don't know what Scott's going to think of it, but to me, this is, again, spoiler alert, top 2 on the album.
Yeah, I don't like this song. This is like some of this is a lot, but it's too childish. I don't know. It's just like you hear this song and it's like there's a land where all the kids get to play and have toys and ice cream, and Charlie Brown is there, and you can't go there, Mr. Grown Up. It's like, what are you trying to do with this song? Like, are you fondly reminiscing about your childhood, or are you depressed because you're saying you had to grow up? I don't know. This whole album is very odd. Like, I don't get what's going on with this album. Anyway, that's my thoughts about the song. It's not one of my favorites here. Very different thoughts about the next song though. When I Live My Dream.
Right. Okay.
Wait,
I feel like, yeah, even I was kind of confused.
You forgot We Are Hungry Men.
Oh, we are hungry. Sorry, crap. I
think there's a reason for that.
I think there was a reason. Yeah.
But in any case,
yep, We Are Hungry Men.
Yeah, I know it says I'm a hungry man, but I don't want to be part of those hungry men. I'm not that crazy. Yeah. This song sucks. I'm just gonna be straight up. This song sucks. Yeah, because it starts with this German guy talking. I'm like, what the hell?
Eins, fine. 5,000 more. The children.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this satire on overpopulation. I think that's what he's trying to say, but just everything else is just so, like, pretty much everything distracts me from the entire message. Because you have these horns, they sound like a mariachi band type of horn sound. I'm like, what are we doing here? And that keyboard sound, I don't know, there's like a very weird keyboard sound on this. And of course, big pet peeve, of course, you get some weird ASMR with him chewing and swallowing, which never liked when people do that. So yeah, just straight up, this was definitely one of the worst songs here. Pretty annoying. Yeah, not into it.
I've been really positive on this album, as you guys were able to tell. Those first 5 songs are, like, to me, really good. Can't say the same for this song though. It's trash.
Yeah,
this song sucks. I told you 1 or 2 songs sucks on this album. This is bottom of the barrel on the album, and it's bottom of the barrel Bowie in general. It has a lot of things I like about it. Like, I love the "We are hungry men. We don't give a damn for what you're feeling." I like it because it sounds like something Bowie would do for like one of his later albums. But the beginning with the "Here's the news. According to the latest population survey, figures have reached dangerous point. My God!" Like, and then when he initially sings, I formed my own society to crush the power of cruelty. I'm like, this is awful. Besides the chorus, I think this song's terrible. I mean, the only thing get me started in the middle section where it's like, all of you must get slaughtered.
Now you listen, yeah.
It's like legalizing mass abortion. Like, no.
What are you doing
No.
here? Your stupid
terrible.
German, your stupid German voice.
Ugh.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I can't stand this song. This is easily the worst. It's arguably the worst Bowie song I've heard.
I had to bring it out. I can't remember the last time I had the garbage can out. But here it is. Trash. Absolutely trash. Oh my goodness. We Are Hungry Men is just awful. It starts out with him doing those goofy voices of the newscasters. I think it's supposed to be some kind of weird parody, like Bryer was saying, population control mixed with corporate greed. But it's like the stupid voices just kill this song completely. The melody isn't good, other than the part Nick was talking about, the chorus. Everything else is just awful. And it has all these weird sound effects. It's just like, everything about this song just hurts my ears. It's like, I just hate listening to it. Especially the stupid German voice. Like, every time he does that, I'm just like, where's the next button? Oh yeah, I gotta listen to this whole song for this review. It's like, I don't want to listen to... You want to know what's really bad? I don't even think this is Bowie's worst song. I think he's got... It's in his top 5 worst songs, but there's a few that I like even worse than this. Which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I wish he would have used the chorus in a good song. Like, I think the chorus had so much potential.
If he used that chorus with a production from, like, something on Man Who Sold the World, that would have been good.
Like a rocking chorus, like, we are hungry men. We don't give a damn for what
Just
you're...
make it about, like, employers that screw over their employees or something like that and climbing up the corporate ladder, and bam, you got a great Bowie song. But no, you had to add the stupid German voice in there.
And all those, and those horrible horns, too. That's the horns and the German voice. If you would have gotten rid of both those things, and
it'd have been a half-decent song if they'd have gotten rid of that.
It'd probably be my least favorite on Man Who Sold the World, but it would definitely be a song that I like.
Yeah, but no, knock off the German voice, Bowie.
Yeah.
This is this is Bowie's first character. Before Major Tom, we had the Hungry Man.
And it's not the first time we hear David Bowie representing a German.
Okay.
In White Duke.
Oh gosh. We'll save that when we get to station. All right. Now we're gonna get to When I Lived My Dream. I was trying to skip over We Are Hungry Men, but apparently we had to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. After that train wreck, now we get something actually good. Well, better. But yeah, again, we're kind of going back to that child innocence yet again. So yeah, lyrically nothing new here, but again, musically, I think it's definitely pretty nice. I like the strings here, and again, I think he has a better vocal performance here. I think his vocals stood out a lot more here. Again, not much to say because it was actually one of the more sane songs. So yeah, this was actually another highlight for me. I thought it was pretty good. Then again, I could be giving it too much credit because like I said, we just heard Hungry Men, so I'm probably gonna give something. I'm probably gonna give the next song. If it sounds better, I'm gonna give it high praise. But seriously though, I think it's another one of the better songs here.
We got a comment. Basil the Vinyl Guy says
Hello.
That this David Bowie album is a great one. I wouldn't say this is a great one in my book, but it's not his worst. I used to think this was his worst album, but there's a few that are definitely worse than this one.
Well, Basil the Vinyl Guy, I agree with you. This is a great album. It's not for everyone. I mean, okay, before I continue, before I get my thoughts on this song, I gotta say, Bowie had so much different periods. There's a Bowie album for everyone. Like, maybe to Scott and Bryer, this is a piece of crap, but to me, I really like it. But maybe a later period Bowie, like Bryer's like, this is a great album, and me and Scott would be like, we don't agree. And then maybe there's an album that Scott really likes that me and Bryer aren't too sure about. So there's a Bowie album for everyone because of how much variety he gives. So
what if Bryer's like, Black Tie, White Noise? That's one of my favorites.
I disagree with him, but I mean, again, there's a Bowie album for everyone. I mean, of course, I goes without saying we're all gonna enjoy the 70s Bowie, but in terms of later period Bowie and early Bowie like this, there's gonna be a lot of divisiveness. And even though I disagree with you guys, I could see why. I was in your spot at one point. I was, besides Uncle Arthur and Love You Till Tuesday, I hated the whole album. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Oh no, this is the weirdest thing this is not the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Well, at the time, I'm talking about when I first got into Bowie when I was in 10th grade. But okay, my thoughts on When I Live a Dream, though. Great way to close out side one. I think it's an amazing way to close out side one. It's another really nice song. I'd say this song and There's a Happy Land, those are like the two nicest songs on the album. It's definitely a great palate cleanser after that pile of crap we had heard last track. So
yeah,
really, it has nothing to do with it being after We Are Hungry Men, but it helps that it's after We Are Hungry Men that he puts one of the better songs on the album, because this is another top 5 song for me. I really enjoyed it.
This is the most serious song on the album, and for that's why I like it a lot. I like the string section. The lyrics are good on this one. It's good to hear an actual like serious song that's not about like, hey kiddies, look at Uncle Arthur, look at my rubber band who stole my girlfriend. Or it's like I'm trying to be childish, but I'm actually making a comment about something really dark. Like, it's good to actually hear a sincere song on this album, and that's why I like this one. Okay, well that is the end of side 1. Side 2 opens up with The Little Bombadeer.
All right. Now we're going back to adults hanging with kids again. All right. So, yep. So, might as well get out of the way. Of course, lyrically, it's about this like war veteran coming back from war. He starts to befriend this kid, and gets really close with the kid. It does have a happy ending, though. The townspeople run him out of town, and so there's that. Yeah, this is another one of the songs I didn't care for, because there's an accordion on this, which it's different, but it's kind of like I could not really feeling it. Strings were okay, got a little bit repetitive. Just overall, it's kind of like just not one of my favorites here. Kind of forgettable.
Okay, I thought this was a pretty nice song on the album. Again, I like it's very grandiose sounding. Like, it's very, I don't know, it sounds like something that he like recorded in a concert hall, for like something like operatic almost. Not like opera, but like sounds like he recorded it where people do opera kind of. I actually quite enjoyed it. It's not like one of my absolute favorites on the album, but I thought it was a nice song for me.
So I was kind of enjoying the waltz feel of this song. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going to like this song. And then I started listening to the lyrics and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what I think it's about? And then it got to the end where they ran him out. And I'm like, yeah, no, this song is terrible. Yeah, nope. I mean, I do like the waltz feel of the song, but it's like, my goodness, make up your mind. Are you making a children's album or are you making a dark adult themed album? Like, what are you doing here, Bowie? Like, this song is the prime example of why I don't really like this album. Track number 2 on the second side, Silly Boy Blue.
All right. Okay, now we get to this song, and it's actually okay. It's actually one of the slightly better ones, especially after the last one. It's pretty slow moving, which might seem like a bad thing, but I think I think on first listen I got bored after a while, but I think on this recent listening it was like, okay, I'm kind of vibing with this one a bit more, and there's some nice bass playing on this one as well. And again, his vocals were pretty solid here for the most part. And I do like I think the ending was pretty good. I like the ending harmony he does at the end. I think that was like a nice little moment there. Again, nothing really amazing, but it was definitely one of the more decent songs.
Yeah, I actually it's another song. I'm this and this little Bombadeer, and I'd say these first three songs on side two. Like I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna say entirely, but this is another song I like. I'm like, this is a nice song, but it's not like memorable to me. Like it's not like a song that I necessarily remember. Like it's a song that I look at the title. I'm like, what? How does this song go again? And then I play it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like this song. And that's how it is for the last song and this song. And I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna say it again, but it's kind of like that for the next song too. So yeah, it's probably my least favorite stretch of the album in my opinion, because it's like, to me they're not like memorable songs. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, this is I don't like this song. It's like the silly boy Blue who lived in Tibet and made statues made of yak milk. I'm like, what is this? like lyrically, this album is just not very good. I don't like this song either. I'm gonna make a very bold claim about the second side of this record, and you're gonna hate me for it. Okay, the next song, "Come and Buy My Toys."
All right. Okay. Again, bass is again okay, and this is probably the most acoustic heavy track, whereas mainly the acoustic guitar getting center stage. Very simple, not much to say though. It's kind of again, it's kind of like fine, but again, kind of forgettable. Not really a standout overall, but yeah, that's all I gotta say about it.
Kind of the same, kind of like what I was saying with the last track. I like it. I think it's a nice track, but again, it's like one of those songs where I forget how it goes and I have to like listen to it. And it's not like, I mean, if you watch my Parsley Sage Rosemary Thyme with Jason, the only reason it's funny, I said the same thing about a lot of songs on Parsley Sage Rosemary Thyme, but the difference between that album and this album is that I've heard this album a lot more compared to how much I listened to before the Parsley Sage Rosemary Thyme album. So when I say this about this song, I really mean it. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter how much times I'm going to listen to it. It's not going to be a song that I think is necessarily memorable. They're nice. It's like nice songs. I enjoy it in the context of the album, but it's like not like songs that I'm like, it's not a song that I'm like, whoa, I have to listen to this kind of thing.
Bowie, knock it off with the children's songs. That's all I'm going to say about that. Join the gang.
First thing I wrote, what is this hillbilly crap?
Yeah. Hillbilly hippie crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, again, this is another one this was like did not like it that much at all. Of course you have sitar on this. You got that. Yeah, no. And there's again, it has like those weird sound effects that seem to come out of nowhere, like very random sound effects here. And even at one point, there was a section that's I feel like he's sampling Spencer Davis Group with Give Some Lovin'. Like it has the exact same kind of riff. So yeah, another song just not that good.
I really love this song. I knew this was gonna be I knew this was gonna be this. I knew this and another song I'm gonna be really positive on, and I know it's good. You guys are gonna really hate it. This is the first of two songs that I knew was gonna be like that. I don't know. I love the quirkiness of it. I love the. Let me introduce you to the gang. Boom, 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 boom. Johnny plays this guitar. He's an existentialist. Once he had a name, now he plays our game. It's like, I know it's stupid. I know it's childish, but I love it. You guys could judge me on that, but I love this.
I'm not going to judge you on it, but I'm definitely going to judge the song.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't make it, so I could care less.
No, I think this song is super stupid. I hate when he's like, Johnny plays the sitar or whatever, and then they have the sitar come in, and I'm like, what is it's like join the gang? Are they talking about joining the gang for a band, or is this a metaphor that joining the gang is like getting turned on to drugs? Because that kind of what it sounds like. It's like come on and join the gang, and then you got like this guitar sound. I'm like, no, I did. The second side of this record, no, just no. It's not very many songs I like on this second side. Next is She's Got Medals.
All right. So yeah, I mean, lyrically, in terms of the lyrics, what's kind of interesting about the lyrics is that it does have that sort of like gay connotation to it, which, of course, David would really stretch that out when you get to his glam rock period. Besides that, yeah, this is another forgettable song. Yeah. And then the thing that kind of ruins it the most is that even though I kind of commented on the themes, it's delivered in mostly spoken word, which I'm like, I really don't care for spoken word that much at all. So yeah, and musically again, pretty forgettable. This is one of those songs. I can't remember how it goes. Yeah, it's like that's literally the lyrics are the only thing that kind of stood out. But aside from that, yeah, another pretty bland song.
Okay, this is another song I really enjoyed. I love this song. It's such a weird opening with that whatever the heck that noise is at the beginning. It's so weird. And then boom, but the boom, but boom, she walked through the door and she set up the drinks on the house. She played a good game of darts. It's like I'm a sucker for British humor. I love it. I get it again. I could get why Bryer and Scott will be turned off completely from this. Again, I'm a big Small Faces fan. So that's big Kinks fan. I love Britishy bands, so I have the little bit of the edge there when it comes to that. My favorite part of the song, in my opinion, was when he goes, "She's got very tired of picking up girls, cleaning her gun, and shaving her cows." It's like, what is this? I remember when I first heard the album, like, what the play? What the F is this? What is this? But the more I listen to it, I'm like, I love this. I love it so much.
No, it's another one of those songs just too quirky. Lyrically, it's kind of like Mulan. A girl pretends to be a guy to go off to war and win the war. But this song doesn't have Eddie Murphy as a talking dragon, so that makes it not as good. Musically, this song is just too much. It's just like, she's got medals. I'm just like, this is just so annoying. This whole second side just really irks me. And I can't even tell what it is. It's just some of the songs on the first side were too childish. The second side, either childish or just grating on my nerves. So yeah, this one's gonna be a no. Track 6 on the second side is Maids of Bond Street.
Yeah, this is straight up filler. It's like not even 2 minutes long. It's just this short. I don't know what you even call it. I wrote down again. It sounds like something you hear in a sitcom. That was like the only thing I wrote. Besides that, again, I don't have much to say. It's just like whatever. Moving on.
I actually really like this song. Again, I know Scott, you and Scott are just like really not liking this album. And I'm just like, I really like it. It's like the opposite effect for the Never Forever review, where it's like two people who liked it and one person who really didn't like it. Again, I think it's a fun song. Maybe it's not Bowie's technical masterpiece. This is no Golden Years or Rebel, but I think it's nice. I liked it. And it's not like a top tier song. I'd give it like a B tier or C tier, but I liked it. I personally really liked it.
I'm with Bryer. This is straight up filler, and I can't remember a single line from this song. Next, Now this is the first song. This is the funniest thing. This is the last song. It's the first song I heard from this album because Nick was so eager to show me it. Please, Mr. Gravedigger.
Yep. And like Scott, I was there when Nick decided to share it. And yeah, this was the first exposure I had to this album for the first time. And I was like completely flabbergasted. Of course, it's this very like creepy, eerie, has this horror theme going on. It's like this bizarre short story of, this kind of serial killer at this graveyard. He just killed a few kids, and now he's in the graveyard, and he sees the grave digger, and now he's planning on killing him next. It's just this very strange, very odd track. And of course, you hear him sneeze a couple times, and he's blessed, and he excuses himself, which was like, okay, I guess that was necessary. And I think I remember when after we finished hearing it, and I was like, of course, I was like, what the heck am I listening to? And then when Nick actually revealed that was the last song, I'm like, that's the last song, and I was just like completely, I just couldn't. Like, this is probably the most bizarre closing song I've heard on any album. Like, it ends on such a downer too, because it's like this very dark, macabre story to end this kind of quirky album, and it's weird. It's like, I don't know. I still don't quite know what to make of it. Like, I will give it. It's memorable. Like, you hear it, and it's going to be playing in your head. But
I can hear it right now.
I know, but on its own, like really objectively, it's technically on a technical level, yeah, it's pretty bad. This is a pretty bad way to end the album. But again, it's interesting. I'll give it that. But this is like, why end the album like that?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I've been positive on this album the entire time. I mean, of course, besides We Are Hungry Men, but yeah, this is on that same level of bad. It's like, please, Mr. Gravedigger. Excuse me. That's like, here's a little church bug, wait on the load. It's like, yeah, I don't like this at all. I'll let Scott do the rest of the talking.
Okay, so yeah, when I heard this for the first time, I thought, oh, this has to be the worst song on the album. This is awful. It's not even the worst song on the... In fact, I'm going to make the bold claim that this is the best song on the second side of the album. That's how much I hate the other stuff, and I hate this song pretty bad. The only reason that I'm putting this higher up is because it's more memorable than some of the other stuff. It's still pretty bad. You got David Bowie talking in like a serial killer voice with like rain and footsteps going on, and you can hear the gravedigger shoveling, and I didn't even realize what it was until today when I was listening to the lyrics where he's like, I've been killing people, and he killed either his girlfriend or his daughter, and it's like, and I'm Mr. Gravedigger, this next grave I'm digging is for you. I'm like, what? This is dark. And then the part where he sneezes is just, it happens twice. Every he sneezes, he's like, oh, bless you. It's just like, that came out of nowhere. It's, I think this is just such a odd, bizarre way to close the album. It's just like, why would you end the album? Anyway, let's be done with this first album. All right, we've finished the first album. We have very few bad albums to get to for a very long time. So let's do our top 5 and get on with it.
All right. So top 5. Even now, of course, I'll admit, like even like my 4 and 5, I still don't love, but they're definitely the better ones. Number 5, Love You Till Tuesday. Number 4, Silly Boy Blue. And then 3, 2, 1 were the ones I actually liked to an extent. Number 3, There Is a Happy Land. Number 2, When I Live My Dream, and number 1, Sell Me a Coat.
I'm glad that made your
Good
number
top
1.
choice.
Okay, I actually have 4 honorable mentions before I get into my
Oh,
top
wow.
5. Sell Me a Coat. It's a great song. I'm glad it made number 1 for Bryer. Rubber Band, Maid of Bond Street, and She's Got Medals. I really wanted that to make my top 5, but I couldn't. Number 5, Join the Gang. I'm probably the only one in existence who will have Joined the Gang in my top 5. So
Okay.
here's that. Number 4, When I Live a Dream. Number 3, Uncle Arthur. Number 2, Love You Till Tuesday. And number 1, I'm agreeing with Paula Graham. There Is a Happy Land. That's my favorite on the album. I love that song.
I'm going to have to start at the top and work my way downwards. Otherwise, I'm never going to be able to make this list. Number 1 is When I Live My Dream. Number 2. Oh, gosh. You know this album is pretty bad when Rubber Band is your number 2. I still like it more than I did originally, though. Number 3, I'm going to go with Uncle Arthur. Number 4, Sell Me a Coat. And number 5, oh my gosh, I actually am putting Please Mr. Gravedigger in my top 5. That's how bad this album is. This still isn't even his worst album, though. There's worse. It's just, I don't know. I'm ready to be done with this. What are you going to give this out of 10?
All right, well, I'll give you my original score when I first heard this album. I was going to give it like a 3 originally. But like I said in the beginning, I think a few of these songs grew on me a little bit more. And there were some my top 3 songs that I did like them. So it boosts up a little bit more. Still not a very good score, but I'm gonna give a 5 out of 10. I think that's like somewhere smack dab. Well, 5 is still a pretty bad score, but it's definitely better than a 3.
I'm gonna give this album a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
I can't give it the 10 status just for those 2 horrendous songs. I can't give it with an album with Please Mr. Gravedigger and especially We Are Hungry Men. That
We Are Hungry Men needs to just die in a hole.
Yeah, exactly. They
definitely need to starve to death.
To me, it's the Why Don't We Do It in the Road on the album, and it's abysmal at best. So, yeah, as you can see, it was pretty high score. It was actually the score just keeps going up. It was originally my least favorite album of 1967, but I'm not gonna tell you until me and Jason do it. But another album, it's now my least favorite of 67, and it's a pretty popular album.
No.
So there's that. But yeah, 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, what am I going to... So my original score when I first listened to this was, I think it's either a 3 or a 4. I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I'm going to give it a 5. This is going to get a 5, but that's as high as I can give this album. And the score is pending to just drop again, but we'll find out. It's a 5 as of today, but this is definitely not my go-to Bowie album.
Our average is 6.5, by the way.
6.5. Okay. Odd way to start your discography, but he drastically improves on the next album, in my opinion. So, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time whenever we tackle the 1969 album, David Bowie. Wait a second, didn't we already do that one? Oh yeah, they're both called David Bowie, so we're gonna refer to it as Space Oddity so that we don't get it confused. All right, see you guys next time. Just remember that music is art and art is expression. Have a great rest of your day.